Hi, I'm Mitch from Matt Stone Racing, car 35 mechanic for Todd Hazelwood. My backstory and my beginning was I actually started racing in karts, always wanting to be a race car driver. I never really gave myself the best chance, so for me, the still love of cars, nothing else I'd rather be doing. I just got straight into working behind the scenes, and cars is what I love doing, racing's what I love doing, so put two and two together and here I am. I did 8 or 9 months in a smaller team, didn't get to go to a racetrack much, started off sweeping floors, cleaning cars, all the stuff no one wants to do. When I actually started at Matt's, my first weekend, I was Super 2 at Newcastle last year. And then from there, it was just sort of trying to do as much as I can and show as much motivation into wanting to learn and wanting to know as much as I can. We started this year and got the chance to be number 2 on Todd's car. Tried to work as hard as I could, 8 months in and in there working on the car, and it's good fun. I'm only 20 years old, so hasn't been very long, only been in it, what, a year and 7 months, so it's been awesome fun. I'm loving it, it's such a good experience, and yeah, it's just, I don't know what I'd do without it. So the cars themselves aren't actually that necessarily technical in some aspects. It's a very, very steep learning curve very quickly, but once you're there, it's a lot of routine stuff. The hard part comes about it when you're having to do everything to the millimeter perfect, everything's got to be spot on. When you're on the track, Todd's chasing hundreds of seconds, not even tenths. It's such a small window for something extremely little to go wrong. Critiquing everything to be as perfect as it can be is where it starts to get a bit technical, and there certainly is a huge pressure from all angles, and even from the driver's aspect. You're trying to do the best for them and make sure they have the best car they can. Things do happen so quickly, and as I said, things have to be perfect. There's always that pressure on yourself. Have I done this right? Is this right? So there's a lot of steps you got to put into place, and got to get it all in order and think of one thing at a time and finish that thing before you start the next. It sort of does reduce the pressure in that aspect. The biggest thing for pressure as a team is having a good team. For us, we're quite lucky. We've got a good bunch of people. We all get along. We're all good friends, and it's sort of just working together. So not so much checking that one person's done something right, but we can often check each other's work and say, hey, has this been done? Is this good? So we're all on the same page, and we generally help each other out. That's probably the biggest thing that helps the pressure. So day one of a race weekend, generally we fly in the day before, and then we're up early. First thing Thursday is set up the garage. So when we first rock up, we put the car on the patch and we get all our weekend measurements of the car, all our cambers, all of that, and the ride height, all that sort of makes sure the car is 100% perfect from when we've had it at the workshop. And then yeah, it's just a lot of buttoning up little things. If we've had a tight turnaround, say we've backing from Phillip Island to Tassie, we actually had a car turnaround at the racetrack. If there's leftover jobs, little jobs like bolting in lead or just a lot of little things, finishing up stickers, we often do that stuff on setup day, so that quick once over of the car, make sure it's 100% ready for the weekend. First day is actually probably one of the busiest days, is practice day, where the sessions are quite hectic. We throw a lot of setups at the car, we're doing this, we're doing that, we change a lot of things, and the sessions are often a lot closer together, whether we have 2 or 3 sessions on the day. So Fridays are probably relatively one of the more busy days. If we do have something wrong with the car, it's going to be on the first day. So for pit stop practice, for us being a single car team, we share with Macaulay Jones's crew at BJR. So for pit stop practice for us is one of the big chances for us to gain or lose times in a race. Because we're using 2 different teams with 2 different crews, it's always good to get us all together, and so that all the teams working together, and so we can practice race situations. So say we do a mid-race ride height change or double stacking, or say we practice a wheel nut getting cross-threaded. Because we don't have the full team at the workshop, obviously BJR are down in New South Wales, we're up in Queensland, it's always good to get the 2 crews together to do one pit stop and practice all those scenarios, so that if things do go wrong, the team are on the same page, and we do get along, and we know what's going to happen if something was to go wrong, so we can maximise everything that happens. So pit stop practice is always good fun. When all the mechanics get together, we We all have a bit of a joke about it all, and we always got to try and beat each other. It's like we're all racing, we all just love to be as fast as we can, so it's always good fun to try and beat your mate next to you. Rocking up for a race weekend on a race day, nah, it's just another day. Just got to get in and get the job done it's all that really happens. The investment in Todd is a lot. The amount of hours we do behind the scenes at the workshop, all the hours we do at a racetrack, whether we're there till midnight or 1 AM on a Saturday night, it's always good to get a good results because there is a personal investment in it yourself. As soon as Todd goes out for that qualifying session, we are glued to the screens to get as best as we can and hope the best for Todd because it's a lot of our life. It's where we spend most of our time. It's not like your 9 to 5 job. We don't clock on and we don't just leave. There's a certain time frame, certain window between events, which is generally quite slim. So for us, we have a time frame of how much we need to get done. We will change and alter how much of the car we can actually service in between race meets, but it's a matter of we just have to work until everything we need is done. There's no set hours during the week. We could do 50 or 60 hours in 1 week. We could do up to 80 or 90 hours in 1 week. It's just we've got a time frame to meet. We have to meet it no matter what. Typical Saturday night, if we're lucky and no damage, it'll be come in, strip the car, clean the car, and a few little changes, any problems we find throughout the day, anything that needs to be altered, we'll do that on a Saturday night. Everything will be basically stripped and cleaned. All the front end will come off, engine bay will be cleaned. Most things will get serviced, like engine air filters will get changed, gearbox magnet and oil will be changed, and making sure everything's just good to go because often Saturday's quite a big race. It's obviously the first race of the weekend, and then Sundays are generally even bigger race. And then if we do have a weekend where there is damage, we will have a late night. It'll be up till all hours of the night, let it be no sleep, whatever, the car's got to be ready to go for the next day. The motivation part of things on a late night, it'd just have to be the love of it. You got to like doing it because if you are there till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then you're there at 6 AM the next day, you're running on 2 or 3 hour drinks. Your energy drinks help, you gotta love them too, but yeah, you just gotta love it, otherwise you do struggle. Oh, it can be a huge emotional roller coaster. It'll be your highs are your highs. We're always gonna have some good ones and always have some bad ones. We can always turn it around and have another good weekend. Jaden and I, Jace being the crew chief, Jaden and I being the 2 mechanics, we generally spend the most time together, and the 3 of us, we get along quite well. Like, we'll go and have beers after a weekend or whatever else, so we're all just a good bunch of mates. You'd probably hear from a lot of other people, I'm probably the smart ass, the one that everyone gets sick of the most, but yeah, just having a joke. You can't be serious all the time. It's always good to lighten the mood of the team and have a good fun and everything else. 5 o'clock Sunday is the biggest struggle. After a race, adrenaline's gone, everyone's tired, everyone's grumpy. Often we're traveling around, so it's either we're in a hotel for another late night or we're on a midnight flight home. You'll get on the plane, you'll have to see the whole team will be passed out, everyone's asleep. So generally after the weekend, we do get 1 or 2 days off after a race meet. If a truck's traveling, we'll have a day off. So say if we're up at Darwin and it's a 2.5 truck travel back, we'll have 2 days off after a race meet. If you're looking to get into it, I'd say you have to love it and you have to have the passion and you have to have no social life. You come in, and especially in supercars, you're home for 1 or 2 weekends at a time, 12, 14-hour days quite often, quite regular. You don't get much sleep. If you're not happy to start at the bottom, sweep floors, do all that sort of stuff and work your way up, I've been very, very lucky, and I've skipped a fair bit and jumped up a fair bit and got quite high up quite quickly. You just got to put in a lot of effort and be open and willing to learn. Not a lot of people get to go and travel Australia and play with race cars for a living, so it's awesome. I love it. It is everything that I thought it would have been, but it is really good. I mean, when you get the good results and all the hard work and a million hours you do pays off, it is definitely worth it.